deal was last month. But anyway, I always last to get the memo around here. It may be Incest Pride Month. So I'm coming through Florence, Alabama, where my grandparents are buried. And I had to go in and get a map to see it's one of these deals. There's the tombstone, the headstones are flat, and so I managed to get out there and to see where my grandmother was, and my granddad. He died in the 70s, but she passed away in the 2000s. A victim of a family member that intentionally screwed the whole family out of my grandmother's estate, and then had her committed to a nursing home. Nothing was wrong with her, and my first cousin worked at the nursing home, and it took them about a month to kill her off. That's a fact. I made the attorney general when I got out of prison, so it had to be hemmed up on a fake deal, and of course I get ignored. Now, I don't know what the statute of limitation is on murder, but I don't believe there is one. And I do know the people that are culpable and what they did and how much money they stole from a near 90-year-old woman, okay, that worked her ass off her whole life, and you took advantage of her. But I want to talk to you something more serious. As I'm at the cemetery. I posted footage of stalkers posted up at that cemetery. They did this before when I was at my dad's grave. And I said, I tell you what, boys. I said, if I catch you posting up when I go to visit cemeteries and you creeping me at a graveyard, I better not catch you doing it again. That's why I'm sitting on my front porch with about 10 cameras going, and I'm doing a lot of talking. Because let me tell you, Richard Moore is pissed off. I told you to stay away from me. And when you disrespect me and you show up at them cemeteries, let me tell you what, folks, you have screwed yourself to the floor. We're talking about Colbert and Lauderdale County, Alabama. But it doesn't matter because they're running interference for Union County and Lee County and these other people that are in play. This blue wall of silence and all this little club stuff, that bullshit's not gonna hunt. I documented a lot of information, got tag numbers. And for those that saw me doing that today over there in North Alabama, let me tell you what I think about you. First of all, you're a pathetic criminal. I'm gonna come after you. I'm gonna come after you criminally, and I'm gonna come after you civilly, and I'm gonna keep doing it until you hemorrhage all the money that you ever thought you'd have. And I'm gonna make sure that your great-great-great-grandchildren will still be suffering in poverty because of the crimes that you committed. You can believe that. You can believe that. That's my solemn vow to Colbert and Lauderdale County, Alabama. And let me tell you why, folks. Not only did they do that, 1982, I'm 16 years old. I've got one brother, my big brother. He's 18. At Arnold's truck stop, using a payphone. The story was the Muscle Shoals police arrested him for public intoxication. He wasn't allowed a telephone call. He was put not in a drunk tank, but a regular cell. He was 6'5". And the way these old bars and stuff are made, the next thing we heard about, and I spent the last day my brother had on this planet with him, and I thank God every day for it. My family got the call. My mother was in South Carolina or North Carolina, up there somewhere, with a group of people helping to build churches. And that's a long drive to have to make, especially with the kind of news that was delivered. My dad, I don't believe I ever saw him shed a tear. I never heard him cry. He was that kind of a man. He played professional football, and he'd rather knock your head off as talk to you, and that was just the nature of my dad. He played 5 years of college, 5 years of professional football, and was on the first football team at Central High School in North Alabama. He's in the Alabama Football Hall of Fame. Now, All that to say this. I'm in my bedroom and I could hear loud crying and wailing, and I've never heard that before. I'm 16 years old. Then my door opens. When he opened the door, I'll never forget. It's like it happened yesterday. As these demonic, demon-possessed, fake Christian pervert morons drive by. Let me tell you why they got me hot today, okay? And why I will never let it go. When my dad walked into the room, he opened my door. I took my pillow and I put it over my head. Whatever he was going to tell me, I didn't want to hear it. And he told me that my brother was gone. They found him hanging in a jail cell. And the coroner later said that he would have had to have held his feet 5 inches above the ground for an extended period of time for him to have finally succumbed to death. In other words, it was impossible for him to have died the way it was reported. 1982. It's one of the tattoos I've got on for you judgmental, hypocritical pieces of shit that want to say something about my tattoos. You don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about my life. But I'm going to tell you one thing. When I tell you that I'm a warrior, and I'm not some full of shit, psychotic, hyperbabble speaker, I'm proving it. I've shown you the paperwork. But honey, I ain't even got started good. My brother had some personal effects, and one of them happened to be a .25 automatic pistol. He was 18. At that time, you could have one. It was legal. He hadn't committed any crimes. He was at Arnold's truck stop. I let him off in Muscle Shoals. He had walked to Arnold's and was on a payphone calling his girlfriend, trying to get a ride, when the police pulled up on the scene. Now, he had been abused and stalked by police for years. So had I, as children. One case went in Red Bay, Alabama. The police chased him. He was a kid, but he was out running on a motorcycle, hit the state line. They followed him across the state line, and he went out a gravel road, wiped, and had a wipeout. The police got out of the car and beat him almost beyond recognition. They crossed the state line and left him there for dead. That was the Red Bay Police Department. So you can ask me what I think about him, and I think you know what the answer is. That he was targeted. Who knew? In the 80s. This is not a new program. The Stasi program is not new. Evil's not new. It's been around since creation, friends. My brother's personal effects were then turned over. My dad picked them up. No parent should ever outlive their children. No parent should have to bury one of their children. It changed my family. And when the stuff was there, and I have those effects to this day in my possession, less